Y'all were calling Donald Trump crazy for doing that. And now Netanyahu does the exact same thing. And you mean to tell me that you guys, especially you liberals who are Zionists, you're okay with Israel doing this, but when Donald Trump did it, you guys were like, "Oh my God, he's going to get us in a war with Iran." Look, if you guys wanted World War III, you're doing a damn good job of starting it, baby. Oh, Israel done stepped in it. They done stepped in it. Let's get into this. So, let me share my screen really quick with you guys. I found this out. Shout out to Sabby Sabs because she was the one who I saw this from, and I was just like, "Oh Lord, what they done do now?" All right, so it says Israeli airstrike in Damascus kills high-ranking Iranian general. Says officials vow revenge after Sayed Razi Masavi, top member of Revolutionary Guards, reportedly killed. So this is him. Sayed Razi Masavi was an advisor to Iranian paramilitary revolutionary guards in Syria. So let's get into it. It says an Israeli airstrike in Damascus neighborhood on Monday killed a high-ranking Iranian general. Iranian state media has said Iranian officials and allied militant groups in the region vowed revenge for the killing, but did not immediately launch any retaliatory strike. Let me just make sure. It says the killing of Sayed Razi Mazvi, a longtime advisor of the Iranian paramilitary revolutionary guards in Syria, comes amid ongoing fears of the Israel-Hamas war, sparking a regional spillover. Iranian-backed groups in Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq have launched attacks on Israel and its allies in support of Hamas. Clashes along the Lebanon-Israel border between Hezbollah and Israel have continued to intensify, with daily exchanges of missiles, airstrikes, and shelling across the frontier. In the Red Sea, attacks by Houthi rebels in Yemen against ships they believe to be connected to Israel have disrupted trade and prompted a launch of a U.S.-led multinational naval operation to protect shipping routes. Now, if you guys remember, I spoke about this last week regarding the Houthi rebels that are blocking these shipments. And in particular, they were blocking shipments of oil and liquefied natural gas, particularly from BP, from getting to Israel. So basically, Israel is now going to be in an energy crisis, or not necessarily energy crisis, but it's going to be kind of hairy for Israel, especially regarding their energy, because these oil tankers are going to have to take a long 2-week trip around the southern tip of Africa just for their oil to get through to them. And like I explained before, they're not going to be able to go through this area between the eastern tip of Africa and Yemen, because there's that little narrow strait there that goes into the Red Sea. And because the Houthi rebels and Yemeni army essentially are blocking that area. So if they're trying to get to Israel to deliver goods to them, they're saying, do not pass go, do not collect $200. And so because of that, they're not able to go through. And so essentially, they're also being backed by Iran in support of the Palestinians because of the genocide that's happening in Gaza. So they're basically saying, if Israel does not stop this siege in Gaza and allows medicine, food, electricity, and aid to come into Gaza, they're going to keep blocking these shipments from going in. And then these shipments literally have to take a 2-week trip around the southern tip of Africa, going in up and through the Mediterranean in order to deliver these goods and services, which makes it a lot more difficult and a lot more expensive for Israel. So that's just to let you guys in on that. So it says Iran-backed militias in Iraq operating under an umbrella group dubbed the Islamic Resistance in Iraq have also launched more than 100 attacks on bases housing U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria, of which they have said are in retaliation for Washington's support of Israel. It says the group claimed an attack on a U.S. base next to the commercial airport in Erbil in northern Iraq on Monday. The attack injured 3 U.S. personnel, one of whom was in critical condition. So, because of this attack, now Joe Biden is now essentially saying, get him. So let me share this. This is out of the Hill. So this attack has prompted Biden to act. It says Biden orders strikes on Iranian group in Iraq after 3 U.S. service members are wounded. So now let's take a look at this. Let me take this down. It says President Biden orders strikes on 3 locations in Iraq after 3 U.S. service members were wounded, one critically, in an attack on Erbil Air Base early Christmas morning, which was yesterday, credited to a militia group backed by Iran. In a statement Monday, National Security Council spokesperson Adrian Watson said Biden directed the strikes against 3 facilities used by Kataib, Hezbollah, and affiliated groups, which claimed credit for the initial attack against U.S. personnel. The groups, the U.S. said, are all connected to Iran. The attack was carried out by a one-way attack drone. According to the statement, which he said 3 locations were focused specifically on unmanned aerial drone activities. Now, just as an aside, this attack against an Iranian general reminds me of what happened back in 2020. Now, if you guys do not remember, who was president in the beginning of 2020? Well, it was Donald Trump. And Donald Trump basically gave a thumbs up to an attack that was done against Qasem Soleimani. Qasem Soleimani, who was fighting against terrorists, ISIS terrorists in Iran, was murdered by the United States. And if anybody watches independent media, all the people, especially in legacy media, were saying Donald Trump has basically put us in the crosshairs of Iran and is about to start a war with Iran. Now, to anybody who is a Zionist, y'all were calling Donald Trump crazy for doing that. And now Netanyahu does the exact same thing. And you mean to tell me that you guys, especially you liberals who are Zionists, you're okay with Israel doing this, but when Donald Trump did it, you guys were like, oh my God, he's going to get us in a war with Iran. Look, if you guys wanted World War III, you're doing a damn good job of starting it. And all this could be avoided if you stopped the shelling of Gaza, allowed aid to come in, and actually negotiated with the people in Gaza and in the West Bank, the Palestinians, and gave them their land back. This could all be avoided. but you just don't want to do it. And ultimately, this is because of land, because y'all want to take the land, because you guys don't want them to inhabit that area anymore. It's settler colonialism. That's the driving force. And a lot of these countries that are majority Muslim who are in support of the Palestinians, they're basically saying, no, you guys are in the wrong, and we're going to stop you guys at every turn from doing this settler colonialism. But unfortunately, that's not what they want to do. So let's continue in this article. Sure. Okay. It says the group claimed an attack on U.S. base next to the commercial airport in Erbil in northern Iraq. The attack injured 3 U.S. personnel. So it says in response, U.S. military carried out retaliatory precision airstrike, likely killing a number of Kataib Hezbollah militants and destroying multiple facilities used by the group. Israeli strikes killed 2 other generals earlier this month in Syria. On Monday, Israel struck the Sayyida Zineb neighborhood located near a Shiite Muslim shrine, said Iran's official news agency IRNA, and the UK-based opposition war monitor, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. IRNA described Mousavi as a close companion of General Qasem Soleimani, the head of Iran's elite Quds force, who was killed in a U.S. drone strike in Iraq in January of 2020. That killing was done by Donald Trump. Says neither of the military nor Syrian state media immediately issued a statement about Monday's attack. Israel officials declined to comment. So this is what the president of Iran said. Ebrahim Raisi said that Mousavi was martyred while serving as an advisor for the resistance front, defending holy shrines in Syria as well as safeguarding Islamic ideals. He threatened that the Israeli regime will definitely pay for this crime. So Hussein Akbari said, that's Iran's ambassador to Syria, condemned the killing, says Mousavi was in Syria as a formal military advisor. Israel will definitely get a response to this crime at the right time in the right situation. So it says Israel has carried out hundreds of strikes on targets inside government-controlled parts of war-torn Syria in recent years. It does not usually acknowledge airstrikes in Syria, but when it does, Israel says it targets Iran-backed groups that have backed Assad's government. So this is some serious shit. Make no mistake about it. I'm telling you, keep an eye on this region, especially because I don't know. Do you guys think that World War III will essentially just start in the Middle East? Part of me thinks that it already has started. You don't really mark the beginning of something until after the fact, because hindsight's always 2020. To me, this feels like World War III has already started, but we won't necessarily call it World War III until about by the time we reach 2030. That's what I feel like. What do you guys feel? Do you guys think that World War III has essentially already started, or am I being hyperbolic and am I being a little too preemptive with my declarations here? What do you guys think?